the public access specifier. The base class here, when you inherit using the public derivation, the base class is visible to anyone who is having access to the subclass. So, because the subclass inherits from the base class, anybody who is having access to the subclass also has access to the superclass. So, everything in the superclass becomes visible to the subclass and to those who are trying to access it. The subclass inherits the members of the base class with no change in the access specifiers of the inherited members. So, what does this particular statement mean? This is the syntax: class keyword, class name, you have a colon followed by the access specifier. You have to mention here whether it is public or protected or private, and you have the subclasses. An example: class keyword, trainee is the name of the subclass. You have the colon, you have the public keyword which is the access specifier, and you have the name of the superclass. And this braces indicate that the braces indicate whatever may be the content of the subclass. So, here we are just having an example. So, I have just given the braces to indicate that contains some code of the class. So, this EMP now becomes a superclass because public EMP indicates that it is being inherited from EMP. So, EMP becomes a superclass, trainee becomes a subclass. So, this is how superclass and subclass are differentiated in C++. The public members of the superclass become public in trainee also. The protected members of the superclass remain protected in the subclass also. The private members of the superclass remain private, that is, they are inherited but you cannot access it. So, however the members are declared in the main class, they have the same access in the subclass also. So, the superclass, whatever features it provides to its users, the same features are provided by the subclass also, there is no change. So, this public is the most freely accessible kind of inheritance in C++. And the method to use this public access specifier is class name colon, use the public keyword followed by the superclass, and you can define the class on your own. There is no change in the access of the inherited members. Protected access specifier. This protected also has already been discussed with regards to C+ object oriented programming, but its actual significance comes only in this usage of inheritance concept. Here the subclass inherits the members of the base class with the public members also becoming protected. So, on the public access specifier we saw that whatever was public remained public, whatever was protected remained protected, but when we use the protected access specifier, whatever was public in the superclass also becomes protected in the subclass. So, there is a change in the access freedom that is given to the members of the base class. There is no other change in any of the inherited members. So, how is this affected in the programming domain? Again, you are having the same syntax: class name, access specifier and the subclass. You are having the class trainee over here. You are having the protected keyword instead of public. You are having the name of the superclass EMP, and you are having the class definition. So, here EMP is inherited in the protected manner. So, the public members of EMP become protected in the subclass. The protected members of EMP remain protected in the subclass, and the private members are inherited but they are not accessible. So, though there is no point in having a private access specifier, because though it is inherited, the subclass accessors cannot access this private members. So, private is actually useless when it comes to inheritance. So, generally when we go in for inheritance, we either use the public mode or the protected mode. Protected mode gives the freedom to the subclass alone to access the members and member functions of the base class, whereas the public gives all the access both to the subclass and to those who are having access to use the subclass members to access the superclass members also. So, the only difference is the public members also become protected in the protected access specifier. Here the subclass inherits the members of the base class with the public and protected members becoming private. That means none of the members are accessible. They are all inherited but they all become private. This is a default access specifier. So, in case you forget to mention the access specifier when you are inheriting or when you are declaring the data members, all the members will become private. That means you cannot access any of the members that are present in the base class. So, we always have to remember that when we inherit, we have to explicitly mention what type of derivation, what access mode of derivation we are inheriting with. In inheritance, it is rarely used. It does not serve the purpose for which inheritance is actually created in C++, because you cannot access any of the data of the superclass. Then what is the point of having an inheritance concept? The same syntax exists for this also. Only thing, you have to replace the keyword as private. Public members also become private here. Protected members also become private. Private members remain private. That is, all three are inherited, but they are not accessible. So we will see one example of this inheritance. Here you are having class ex1. This is the name of a class that has been defined. You are having the private data members. One is an integer variable called x. You are having the public members. This is nothing but a constructor. If you see, it is having the same name as the class. So this is called a constructor function, and here we are simply initializing the data member to 0. And here we are defining a member function, no return type. The name of the function is fn1. It is having an integer variable n. And what are we doing here? This n is multiplied by 3 and we are assigning the value to x. So this is a function that is defined in this class. Next, you have another function in the same class having the name disp, and we are displaying that value x, that is whatever data member was created in that class, we are displaying it, and then here we are ending the class. So there is existing one particular class called ex1. It is having one member, integer member x. It is having two member functions. One is disp and the other is function 1, fn1. Next, if you see, we are having this class ex2. This is only called the subclass. Why? Because here we are inheriting using the public access mode from ex1. So this becomes the sub base class, that is ex1 becomes the base class, ex2 becomes the derived class or child class, and this is the public mode of inheritance. That means all the members that are public in the superclass can be visible here or can be accessed here. So how are we going to access it? Before that, we have to see what all is defined in this subclass. We are having the private data member once again, which is an integer variable of name y. So there we have x, here we have y. Then we are having the public mode ex2, this is nothing but the constructor, and we are initializing the value of y to 0. We are having one function here fn2. Here again it is having an integer variable n. Here we are multiplying that n by 5 and assigning it to y. There we had multiplied the n by 3 and assigned it to x. So there are two different functions. There it was fn1, here it is fn2. But if you see the next statement, void disp, this is the same name of the function that we had used in the previous class also. So this is called method overriding. That is, you are going to override this disp method with the method that was seen in the superclass. So when the object of the subclass calls the disp function, it will first call this function only, the function in the subclass. It will not call the function in the superclass. So this method overrides, or it hides up the function of the superclass. That is the meaning of this term, method overriding. Method is nothing but a function. So this function disp overrides or overlaps or hides the function of the superclass. What is done in this overriding function? Here if you see, ex1 is the name of the superclass. We are having the scope resolution operator and we are having the name of the function disp. Now to call this display function of the superclass, this is the method to be followed in inheritance. Because the same class is defined again, the same function is defined again in the subclass, this function will hide the function of the superclass. Inside this function, to access the superclass's function, we have to use this syntax: superclass, scope resolution operator and the name of the function. So this will take the control to the display function of the superclass. After that, it will return the control back here. After the display function is executed in the superclass, the control will come back to this statement. The next statement is cout y. That means this y of the subclass will be displayed. So this is how inheritance works in C++. Now here the ex2 class is also over. So ex2 here is a subclass, ex1 is a superclass. Now we will see how the main function makes use of all these data that are present in the inherited class. So the compiler starts execution from here, opens the main function. Now this ex2 is a subclass. Here the object is created for ex2, the class name followed by the object name. So when the compiler sees this particular function, this particular creation of object, it will call the constructor of the, this is where we have to apply the rule. We saw that constructors are called from the base to the derived classes. So when the object is created for the subclass also, first the constructor of the base class will be called. So we have already seen in the base class the constructor. This is the constructor of the base class. So in ex1, x is equal to 0 is initialized. And then we have to go to the constructor of the subclass, y is equal to 0. So constructors are called from the base to derived, x and y both of them have been initialized to 0. Next, using this object, we are calling the fn1 function. Fn1 function is defined in the superclass. So this is the importance of the public access specifier. Because this function is public in the superclass, it is accessible by the object of the subclass. So here what happens, we are passing the number 10. So this 10 will be substituted for this n. X is equal to 10 into 3, 30 will be assigned to this value of x. So now x holds the value 30. And then we have ob1 dot fn2 function 20. So in function 20, instead of this n, 20 will be substituted. 20 into 5, that gives you 100, that will be assigned to this y. So after this we have to see how these functions are displayed. ob1 dot disp. So disp function, I told you, it is overridden in the subclass. So only this disp function of the subclass will be called. Inside the disp function of the superclass is called. So cout x 30 will be displayed, then cout y 100 will be displayed. So the output will be 30 and the output will be 100. So this is how constructors, member functions, data members are accessed using inheritance.